Oh, bro, I didn't even check my audio. My audio works, dude. I
There
didn't
it
even think
is.
about that. What up, folks? How's it going?
We did it.
It's Thirsty Tuesday this week because we ain't streaming on Thursday. Full disclaimer, believe it or not, Mikey G is sick again. Finished my last 10-day penicillin yesterday to get rid of my strep. Feel like I'm getting strep all over again. Don't know what the hell is going on. My body's breaking down. I'm 40. That's what's going on. So that's how I feel. How you doing, Matty Boom Boom?
Dude, I'm amazing. Apparently, my doctor prescribed me a much better antibiotic. It was not penicillin. It was expensive. You know how like antibiotics, you go there, it's just some generic, it's like 28 cents.
Mm-hmm.
This son of a bitch was $85. I was like, what are you giving me for $85? But you know what? I'm not complaining because I feel righteous right now. So
Dude,
I'll take it.
I'll take your righteousness over me feeling like the
Yeah.
grundle of an
Yeah.
elephant. That's basically how I feel right now.
There it is.
That can't feel good. I'll tell you that much. That's a lot of pressure on a small amount of area.
Whew. You know what? Never thought about that. Don't want to think about it again.
With that being said, we got a really cool show for you tonight. We're going to be talking cars. We're going to be talking NFTs, and we already had a little chat before the stream. These guys are dope. We're going to have some fun. We already got surprises for you. Could be.
Who we got in here? We got Bonji already in the house. Kurt Alexander's here. Too Deep. God. E-Man. Stargirl.
Dude, instead of typing this, because I am not multitasking right now. God and Too Deep.
Metasculptor.
Is Too Deep in here, or is he still traveling?
Too Deep's in here.
God and Too Deep. If you want to clip stuff, can you please clip it on Twitch? And God, I know you were working with YouTube, but I could not find a way to download YouTube clips. So if you clip tonight, please do it on Twitch. That way we'll have it for the future. And by the way, that's a new benefit that you guys don't even know, Caesar and Mike. We're going to be sending you some videos of this podcast after we're done. So you'll have content for days to give to your community. Especially with this intro we're about to do. You damn straight we're recording that.
Oh, hell yeah.
So before we get into our esteemed guest, I got to do the regular spiel. Midlife crisis, man. What are we about? What do we do? I mean, I'm telling you right now, this week is huge for midlife crisis. We got a lot going on. But we've really started hammering down on building our brand out, monetizing it. But I want to start from the beginning. Maddie and I met 4th grade bus stop, childhood friends over 30 years. We're 40. We look like we're 15. We know. We understand. But we're 10-year business people. I work for big brands that spent billions of dollars on marketing and advertising. Maddie started his own companies. And COVID really brought us back together, and it got us thinking like, hey, why don't we try to build a business? Because when we were little, I shit you not, we would have many nights where we were smashing Mountain Dews, playing video games, most likely a Final Fantasy of some sort. And we talked about how cool it would be to build a business with your best buddy. And look at this shit. We're doing it. Midlife crisis is here, starting to monetize. We're building a business with our buddies. And we worked really, really hard to kind of deliver to you a mission statement and tell you what we're about. And it's really simple. We're here to bring back the lost art of genuine human connection. We think as metaverses and social media continues to invade our life, we get actually further apart. Point taken that everyone we met at NFT NYC has become even a better friend. Talked about how great it was meeting us and has become, top of our solid list of contacts. So even though we interact more than we ever have, this face-to-face is super important. And that's what we're about to do now. We're about to talk about not just projects, but people and why you should invest in them and why you should think about using your hard-earned money to dip into their project. And we're here to give you a platform and a neutral place for you to make your own decision. We don't want to make the decision for you. And that's what Midlife Crisis is about. And with that being said, we get to now talk to our esteemed guests. I'm just going to start off with you, Caesar, in a simple hi, man. How are you doing? Welcome to the show. You excited for tonight, brah?
I'm very excited. Very excited. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I told Caesar when I first saw him, I said, that fucking Haircut is fire.
Love it.
I
Love it.
love
Appreciate
it. It brings me back to was there somebody on In Living Color that had a haircut like that? Probably.
Yeah, every character from those sitcoms had one of these.
Oh,
So.
it's freaking lutely. I loved it. And then next, I just want to give you a heads up. How you doing, Mike? Welcome to the show. Nice name, bro.
Doing well. Yeah, I cannot blame you. Mikey G is probably the best name you could get, I think.
Well, I appreciate that. And the coolest part is it rhymes with NFT. It's a
Yes,
freaking
sir.
match made in heaven right there, baby. We had
There it
another
is.
guy.
Well,
Go ahead.
I'm also Mikey G. I'm also Mikey G.
I didn't know your last name was G. Or did you
Oh.
tell me this already?
Did we just become best friends?
Shit, man, we just
Exactly,
became
yeah.
best friends. You understand how many best friends I've had on this show, and you are one of them as well. Shit, that's awesome,
Let's
man.
go.
Welcome, Mikey
Let's go.
G. Now you cannot take my name, Mikey G NFT, though. I own that one. You'll have to pay me some domain charge or something, and I'll sell it to you for a smooth $500K.
We could do some negotiating.
So what we like to do before we get into the meat and butter and ask our world famous midlife intro question, just a little, we call them superlatives, or just, a little deeper dive of things that you might not heard of these amazing peeps that are launching a project shit in a day, right? Like you're 24 hours away. Like you're soon, man. I'm excited.
About 2 days out.
Yeah.
2 days out.
But we're going to start with Mike first. Mike is a painter, but not only does he paint, he paints colorblind. I've never heard of a colorblind painter in my entire life, but Mikey G, the other Mikey G, knows how to paint colorblind. Dude, explain to me just a little bit how that is even possible. Do you have like a color coding? A numbering
yep.
system, not a color coding system, obviously.
Yep. Yeah. To a certain extent, yeah, that's how it kind of breaks down. With anything, it kind of comes down to math, right?
Yeah.
I never thought I could, but then it's just really about, if you know the names of things, then it's kind of how much 50-50 red and yellow is going to bring me blue. So, or, just playing with the color wheel. And
well, what's cool about that too, though, dude, is that, dude, what makes you an amazing artist and a painter, and honestly any art, is understanding color theory, and it requires you to have a deeper understanding of color theory, which makes your shit fire.
exactly.
But thank you for sharing that thought with us. Really, really cool, interesting tidbit about yourself. And then the man Caesar. Let's talk about your special ability. And listen, it can be a sentence, it can be a couple sentences, but we're gonna put you on the spot and we need to hear it. But apparently Caesar has the best Jay-Z impression on this earth, way better than SNL people. And we heard a little snippet, and I'm gonna have to agree with him.
I appreciate that. This is something I've perfected over a long career of doing this impression. So, yeah.
Go with it. What are we gonna say?
Yeah.
What do you
give
want
us
to
a
roll
little
with?
intro.
All right. I'll give you a little taste. Hold on. I got to clear my throat real quick. Hold on.
Oh, I do too, bruh.
All right. I'll give you guys a little taste.
Yes, I'm excited.
All right. Yo, B, it's your boy Jay-Z Hova. I'm with my boy Caesar. I'm with my boy Matty Mintz, Mikey G, and the other Mikey G. And we over here on Midlife Crisis talking MetaTuners, B. You already know it's The Rock.
Let's go.
Yes, totally nailed.
Love it.
Too deep. You have to clip that. I mean, you
Oh,
have
so
to
good.
clip that, 2D. That was
Thanks, man.
fantastic. Dude, no pressure. You've been doing that your whole life. That you just did that simple.
Crushed it.
You did that
Crushed
shit with
it.
your eyes
Hey,
closed,
man.
dog.
Yes.
Hey, man.
Oh, Chad is loving it.
Chat
is
is
loving it.
so excited. They think
It's-
you did a fantastic
go.
job. That was the other thing I think I missed to tell you guys. Like, dude, super open format here, right? Imagine us around the fire, just hanging out, chilling. Feel free to engage with chat. That's another really cool thing that we have here. Twitter Spaces, you just see a bunch of deuces and thumbs ups and hearts, right? So Feel free to engage with that. And if you see a question that's interesting to you, feel free to chime in. Only disclaimer, you're about 30 seconds behind. So the stream is always delayed. Just depends on the internet connection. Sometimes it'll be 10 seconds. Sometimes it'll be 30 seconds. What up,
What's
man?
up, Caesar?
Yeah, real quick. It's telling me that I don't have permission to see the chat. Is that a technical?
Which one?
On Twitch?
On Twitch? Oh, you might need to follow
let
us.
let me send you the chat.
Yeah, you might need to
Got it.
follow us. We might have a permission that if you can't engage in tap chat unless you follow
Yeah.
us, that's most likely it. But the more lively chat's going to be on Twitch, not YouTube.
Awesome.
But that's it, gents. And with that being said, I'm usually going to go top to bottom. Caesar, you're on the top. Mike, you're on the bottom. Since Caesar's trying to get the chat to work, I'll start off with you, Mike. And how we like to describe this is one simple question. We ask one question, then we have an amazing conversation. The question is, how did you get to the seat you're sitting in today? But we like to describe that question as, give us Star Wars Episode 1, 2, and 3. Start when you're 5, start when you're 10, start when you're in college. But give us a meaty explanation. Not I found Web 3 6 months ago and now I'm here. We want to hear it, bro.
Yeah.
Break it
All
down.
day. Beautiful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So I was born in New York. Pretty much lived in Buffalo. That's where most of my family lives until I was like 8. My dad got a fire opportunity with one of his best friends in Florida. So we picked up, whole fam moved here like second, third grade. And middle school, that's where me and Caesar connect. Middle school, high school together. Fast forward, I've always been a creative kid, music, just any way I can express my ideas. It's always just kind of been in me, obviously. Like I saw 90s so we kids, picked up whole family. We had the internet, we saw the internet transform, and it's just the possibilities are endless. So that's kind of what brings me here. Me and Caesar had high school together. We were pretty good homies, and then kind of went our own ways post high school on our creative journeys. One of my good friends, about a year or two after high school, we were grinding in the music world, making mixtapes. A lot of my friends produce music, also rap in the hip hop genre and other genres as well, singing R&B's type stuff.
Awesome.
So one of my best friends ends up getting signed to Cash Money Records like 2 years out of high school. So we were like, whoa, this is crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah. Along that time, like we were building a huge buzz in the city, Orlando, obviously, and Cash Money being 305, they're in Miami, is where their home base is post Katrina. So Birdman just like heard about us through the city, and then things kind of took off from there. I started my clothing brand, which is kind of where me and Caesar linked back up, because he's just such an amazing designer. And I was like, yo, maybe you can help me execute some of these ideas. And he was like, yo, I'm down. I was like, beautiful. This is amazing. So fast forward through that, we kind of toured the country, setting up my brand, helping just orchestrate the whole tour. My homie, just like helping him see his creative vision as well throughout the whole like process of the come up. And then learned that I could paint along my creative journey, creating clothes. Like this is one of my old designs.
Oh, cool, dude.
So then learned I could create the designs as well, just like reverse engineering, figuring out the vibe. Started painting 6-7 years ago. Started painting murals. Fell in love with crypto, the ethos, creating your own rules, being the captain of the ship, being able to partner with communities and us being able to take back control.
Right.
And then, yeah, fast forward, finding about Bitcoin 2015-ish. NFTs with like crypto keys and stuff, right? That was like
Yep.
it was a cool idea, it just wasn't ready yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then just chatting with Caesar, telling I'm sure like 75 other people, like, yo, bro, you need to look into this. You need to. And then just this idea formed, and that's kind of how we got here from a 30,000-foot view.
Dude, I love it. And I will say, I love the chill presentation because I'm a super chill person too, and I ain't feeling so hot. So that actually was very soothing to my throat, dog. I appreciate that, man.
Just pure vibes.
Yeah, it's
pure
just like
vibe,
that was such a vibe. My throat feels a little bit better now. One thing I did want to ask before we move on to Caesar quick is, you said you fell in love with the ethos of crypto, and I think we all believe in that. Hence why we're here. What was that moment that you heard about it? Do you remember like vividly what it was? Did you read a
Oh,
book?
yeah,
Were you on the
100%.
internet?
Um, I can't remember the exact moment, but I know the moment in time. I guess it was probably like the whole Silk Road situation, like the post Silk Road crash, um, that getting shut down, and then it's like, oh, this thing just sold off from 1,000 to $100, and then it's like, okay, this is interesting. I had started going to college at that time and like taking some finance classes, and I was being more like attuned to these things,
Yeah,
and then just learning about this, I was like, whoa. At first, you're like, nah, I don't know, but then you understand more about it. It's
yeah,
solving the double spend problem, and like, oh, hold on, this could really work. And then
yeah.
now where we are, it's just fucking crazy.
Dude, and isn't it crazy to think, I mean, we hate saying it, but it really is super early, right?
Hmm.
And already
100%.
incredible stuff is happening. I mean, I don't know if you heard
100%.
the Izu Twitter
Yeah.
space, but like, man, they have this legit idea to put microchips in clothing, and like, what impact can that make for brands and consumers, right?
Yeah.
Where to earn, crazy idea, but all of this technology is going to let us dabble in if we want to. So, dude, appreciate that recap, man. Matt, are you
Thank you.
comfortable me moving on to Caesar?
Yeah, just real quick though, are you still doing the clothing brand and the other stuff that you were doing? Is that still something that you have kind of irons in the fire in?
Right now the clothing brand's on pause. The
Okay,
clothing brand's on pause. It's still something I love and will come back to life eventually, but the main focus right now is MetaTuners all day. Like we have
got
such
it.
an amazing idea and opportunity that 100%. I
Just
still
had to run
paint
with it.
murals, like here and there. I'll paint a mural, but now it's probably just gonna be MetaTuners murals. You know?
Yeah, no, I
I like
love
it.
that.
That's
Dude,
cool.
there's something to be said too. I appreciate that you said that, right? Because I see actually one of the biggest things that I recognize, and this is more from an influencer or it's project owners too, right? Um, there's so much money to be made, and it's such an interesting environment. People spread themselves thin, man. They're like, you ask them what they're doing, and they rattle off 20 fucking
Yeah.
projects and 20 other things, and it's like, dude, concentrate on something and make it awesome, right?
Hmm.
So really good to hear you
100%.
say that, man, because
100%.
that's one of the many things you want to hear a founder say. So props to you, buddy.
Good deal.
All right,
100%.
Caesar, on to you. Same question, the famous midlife breakdown. Tell us how you got to the seat you're sitting in today. Episode 1, 2, 3. You can start in the crib, 5, high school,
I
wherever you want to
I
go,
was
bro.
gonna say how early can we go?
This is so
Early as you
remember,
want. Tell us the
what I
journey.
said. This is your
Yeah,
platform, man. We're just offering you up a
yeah,
neutral platform, and we're here to expand upon the awesomeness you are about to gift us.
yep. All right, so I'll try to do a quick recap. I've been making art since I was 4 years old.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
Tiger Woods
so
level, bro.
4 years old, it was in the beginning, it was a punishment. It was something that
Mm.
my stepdad would force me to do to keep me calm. Um, so he would make me sit down and he'd just say, "Sit here for hours, draw this, draw that," and I hated it. I was like, "No, no, please." But um, it finally clicked. You know, something happened where I was like, okay, I think I'm starting to like this. I think I'm starting to get this. And my stepdad was a pretty good artist at the time. You know, he was showing me his techniques. He was doing stuff with like charcoal pencils.
Mm-hmm.
But it got to the point by the time I was like 8 years old, I already surpassed him, and he got frustrated. He was like, "All right, screw this,"
I love this.
and I just ran with it for the rest of my life. So when I was young, I've always been like a pretty disciplined person,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously when I was a kid, you know, I love playing video games like all kids. I love, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
But what I would do is every time I would get a new video game, I wouldn't start playing the game until I would draw the front cover. So I would get my
Ooh.
Interesting, dude. What a way to ingrain your passion into a hop, dude. What a great idea, dude.
yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
that was like my kid soldier brain where I was like, okay, I'm gonna stay up all night, all week playing this game, but I also want to make sure I'm still getting my drawing in. And so I would just draw the front cover of the game, and I would just create these like mini portfolios, literally signed like 1990, 1991.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, that's a lie. 97, 98. Because I was born in
I was gonna
1990.
say, shit, dog, you're our age then.
No. Yeah. I'm sorry. 97, 98. But I remember just like compiling these just little mini portfolios that are still at my mom's house. And yeah, man, it started with that. And then it just never stopped. You know, fast forward into, you know, into high school. I got into graffiti. So I was doing that for a little bit. And then as I was meeting more adults and other artists and mentors, they kind of were telling me like, hey man, you know, graffiti isn't really the wave. If you really want to make money and really have a professional career, you know, look into expanding that portfolio. And obviously I could have taken that graffiti road, but I decided to listen to that
Right.
adult at that time. And that's exactly what I did. When I went into high school, every single art class that was available, I took it. I did everything from ceramic, pottery, 2D painting, all types of stuff. And I had some teachers that really believed in me, and they put me in the college level art classes early.
Mm.
And once I was in there, my GPA was trash. They
Yeah.
kind of snuck me in.
Yeah.
But once I was in there, my competitive nature took over, and I just surpassed like most of the students, and I just created this entire series of a bunch of pieces throughout my experience. And my experience at that time in high school was working at Burger King. So
Yeah.
I had a bunch of unique pieces that I did in high school of like my life at Burger King, where I did this piece where I'm being squeezed out of a ketchup bottle, and I'm like, so
That's fantastic.
That's cool.
I remember.
yeah, man. So yeah, so that was high school, and I was just doing fine arts and just getting better and better and better at fine arts. But once college came, that's really when I was like, okay, I'm about to really transition to be an adult. Do I want to continue this career in fine arts, or should I switch it up a little bit?
Right.
I had started looking into graphic design, and naturally I just felt like that was going to be the future because, hey, computers, technology.
Yep.
So right after that high school transition, I just decided I'm going to go to college to do graphic design. And I'm so glad that I made that decision, because it's really just shaped, you know, the rest of my life after that. I was able to, once I finally learned how to use the programs, which was the biggest hump.
Oh yeah.
I was able, that was a major challenge. But once I finally got over that, I was able to develop, you know, my own style by taking all those years of fine arts and just mixing it with the technology.
Right.
So, yeah, man. You know, today. Sorry, 1 second.
That's all good.
Today, you know, I do a mix of illustration, brand identity. Sorry about that.
Caesar was humble enough not to say that he is coming down off getting sick.
I am coming down.
Ramping up. So you're going to hear periodic pauses because we're hacking up along.
I haven't talked this much in like a few weeks. So
no, it's good, man. Dude, like I said, totally open here. Take your time, man. You are giving us some knowledge, and I love it.
Thank you, man. Thank you. But yeah, man. So, college, you know, what I really focused on in college when it comes to design was brand identity, because that was where I was able to touch every single aspect of design, right? If you're doing branding for a project, it's like, hey, like, not only am I going to design the logo for your business or your brand, you know, if it's a restaurant, I'm going to do the menus, I'm going to do the aprons, I'm going to do the signage. You know, if it's a cupcake shop and they need some cool illustrations, like I can do that too. So that was kind of my cheat code.
Yeah.
To be as versatile as possible within my design career. And I think it paid off. So as soon as I graduated college, which was in Orlando, Florida, which is where I met Mike, I moved to New York City. That was really where I started my design career.
Yeah.
And in New York City, it was a grind, man. You know, I was a paid intern. I was getting paid like $9.70 an hour
to live in
working
the city.
For
working.
Yeah, man. It was tough. It was tough, but those years really shaped, you know, the man that I am today, because I really learned how to just, you know, not go backwards, you know, hustle as hard as possible, just survival tactics that I wasn't really getting in Orlando.
Yeah, but you had some of those because, like you said, the discipline to draw a game cover before playing it. You know, the foundation was laid there. So don't sell yourself short. You know,
I appreciate it.
You had a work ethic, and it sounds like that work ethic evolved and became something better in New York. But you know, you started there. If you didn't have that work ethic, I don't think you would have. You know, New York will chew people up and spin them out pretty quick.
Dude, and I'm a product of that, right? Like that's one of the things we bonded over when we first talked. I went to design school, I went to Penn State, and I did the same thing. Everyone's like, you gotta go to New York. And I had one job interview at this place called Wolf Advertising. They told me they were gonna pay me like $13 an hour, and I told them to go fly a kite, and I never went back to New York. Where you were like, all right, I'm gonna take this as a challenge and we're gonna figure this out. I was like, not me, bro. I'm out.
Yeah, man. It was it really was a challenge.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be there. I wanted to be in the city. I was actually born in New York. I was born in Harlem, but as soon as I was born, my mom moved me to Boston, and that was my childhood. And then in 2013, my parents moved us to Orlando, Florida. So really my upbringing was in Florida, high school, college, first car, first girlfriend, all that good stuff. But something was always calling me to, you know, go back to the city and just like start my career over there. But yeah, man, I mean, that paid internship, it lasted about 6 months until I just like got tired of it. They were kind of rugging me. I don't want to call the company out. But they were just kind of, you know, tugging me along, saying, no, we're going to put you on full time. And finally I had to quit. I had built up enough of a portfolio to go search somewhere else. And, I'll never forget the owner of the company. He's like, you're giving up. And I was like, I just like very dramatically, I turned around, I looked at him, I'm like, hey man, there's a difference between giving up and moving on. And he just like stayed speechless.
Bro.
I know. I'll never forget that.
Dude, how old were you at the time?
I was like 21, 22 at the time.
And how old was this guy?
He was like, I would say like mid-40s, owner of the company.
That takes some kahunas, bro.
No, dude, and I had so much respect for this guy. had so much respect for this guy, like, because I was just like, man, look at him, he's running this business. The guy was in shape. I'm like, man, this is a cool guy.
Right.
And at that time, I was, I transformed myself as well in New York. When I moved to New York, I was very overweight. I actually lost over 100 pounds.
Wow.
Over there.
Dang.
So that's another like life thing that I've persevered through.
Dude.
But anyways, man, so that was my little like one-liner to the guy. and and then I just got back to the streets and just putting out resumes on resumes on resumes. And I found this amazing opportunity for this company called Rooftop 2 Productions, where they focus on live events for all the major sports companies in New York. So through that, company, I worked there for almost 4 years. They actually made me the art director by the third year. And it was incredible. I was doing branding for the New York Knicks, the New York Rangers, New York Jets, all types of events. And that's actually how I met my wife today. She was actually a brand ambassador girl at one of these events.
Nice.
And and I met her. I met her at this event, and then we, here we are. Man, almost 8 years later.
Isn't that crazy how quick time goes, man?
Crazy. But where things really changed for me is, once I was like in a groove in New York, and I was just in the middle of my career, and I was doing a bunch of different projects. Something inside of me just wasn't fully fulfilled. The industries that I was working with, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm not a big sports fan, and I was working for a company that predominantly did sports.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was a disconnect there. Yeah. Another thing, New York City, when it comes to design, the industries over there, a lot of fashion and a lot of advertising.
Yeah.
So those were two industries that I wasn't extremely passionate about either. I was more into, entertainment, animation, children's entertainment. And I'm like, how do I get to that?
Yeah.
So what I ended up doing, one second. What I ended up doing was, while I was working at this job in New York, I started working on my own cartoon. And that was what I was really passionate about. Every single day before work, I was on the subway drawing on my MacBook, just sketching, creating this cartoon. And I was working on this thing for about 3 years.
Yeah.
And one day I had an opportunity to submit this cartoon to a competition in Miami called Pitch to the Industry competition.
Yeah.
And there was 200 submissions to this competition. And out of 200 submissions, I was chosen as top 7 to go and pitch this show. So that was like a crazy moment. I took some vacation time, went down to Miami, and out of 7 contestants, it was like an all-day event. I pitched my show in front of judges from Nickelodeon, Fox, all types of networks, and I ended up winning the competition.
Nice.
So it was a crazy journey. And basically they were like, hey man, here's your grand prize for winning this competition. We're going to open the door for you in LA so that you can pitch your show to the execs in LA. At this point, I've never been to LA.
Hey, Caesar, I'm sorry real quick. I had to step away for like a minute or two. Maddie, you keep it going.
Yeah, no
I don't want to.
I got it, man. I've been crushing it. Yep, I saw. Keep on going, man. So you're in LA, you're pitching it to the execs. Where do we go from there?
Yeah, man. So flew to LA, started pitching it to a bunch of different networks. And that same week that I'm pitching the show, I get a call from NBC Universal. And NBC Universal says, hey, we want to buy your show. So as soon as I get that call, I'm like, okay, this is it. This is the big break. I got to go back to New York. I got to quit my job. Like, that's it. So that's exactly what I did. I went back to New York, quit my job on that piece of news, put my furniture on the street. I was living in the Bronx at the time. And like, it was crazy. My job was like, wait, what? You're doing what? And I was like, sorry, I got to follow the dream.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, my wife now, but my girlfriend at the time, I told her, I said, hey, I got to move to LA for this dream. And she's like, oh, that's it. We're breaking up. And I was like, no. In my head, I'm like, no, you're the one. Like, just hold tight. She stayed in New York. I went to LA. And as soon as I got to LA, man, I mean, I had like just enough money to buy like a cheap car, which that's what I did. And I was just couch surfing on a you know, friend's couch. And literally paperwork was being signed, contracts were being made, things were moving really fast.
Mm-hmm.
And the first month that I was out there, NBC Universal and DreamWorks Animation, they actually ended up merging companies. And as soon as that happened, over 200 people got laid off, including the team that was working on my show. So literally, just like that, within that first month, opportunity lost. They gave me back the rights to the show, and they were like, sorry, good luck. So that was that. You know, it was like a roller coaster of a journey. But I didn't get discouraged. I was like, you know what? Like, I'm in LA. Like, I'm in this entertainment hub. Like, what else can I do?
Yeah.
And I just, you know, fell back to what I've already built over the last, you know, 8-9 years at that point. It was my design career. So I started looking for, you know, design jobs, and I actually got a job with the company that created the Power Rangers.
Okay.
And I was at that company for, man, almost 3.5 years. It was an amazing experience. I designed the 25th anniversary logo for the Power Rangers. I did a bunch of different event stuff for like Comic-Con. After that, I got a job at Warner Brothers. And then from that,
you've been everywhere. Okay.
Yeah, a tad bit of a resume there, bruh.
Yeah.
I'm just excited that I sat down at the pivotal moment when you told me you helped with Power Rangers, because that was my childhood.
Dude, yes. And it's funny, another founder of this project, another team member of mine, we actually met at the Power Rangers. So you'll probably meet him at some point as well.
That's awesome.
But yeah, man. So Power Rangers, Warner Brothers, and then after Warner Brothers, I started working at Hasbro. So currently, I'm still employed with Hasbro, where I now work on Transformers. I'm doing a bunch of stuff right now for the new Transformers movie, the new animated show that's coming out on Nickelodeon. I've done a bunch of toy packages for like Beyblade and, you know, Star Wars and things like that. Some Disney packages and things.
That's cool.
So yeah, man, that's kind of like the entire career in a nutshell.
No, it's a fantastic story, dude. And there's a lot to unpack there, because so many amazing life lessons. One of the things that I thought was really great that you shared was how you gave up everything at New York for this chance at your dream, right? You win this contest out of 200 people. Well, first of all, 200 people, you're top 7. You go, you pitch it, you win the all-day contest out of the top 7. You get a chance to go to LA to pitch to the executives. NBC says we're going to take it. However, what I think is amazing out of that is that you did what a lot of people were not willing to do, which is essentially burn the ships, right? You put your, like you said, furniture on the street. I'm going to LA, right? You did that, and it didn't work. In fact, not only did it not work, it was like, you know, this kind of like BS reason, right? I mean, you know, totally out of your control. At that point, most people stop, right? Most people say, oh, this was my shot. It's over now. It wasn't meant to be. And they kind of like go home with their tail between their legs. And I just think it says a lot about who you guys are. This is why we love to do this, to find out who people are. If this is your tenacity, this is your go-getter attitude that you've had through all of these events, and you keep building and you're building on that mentality, it's going to say a lot about what's going on with this project and how this project is moving
Yeah.
forward as well. So I think it's fantastic, man. I think it's a great story. Thank you so much for sharing it.
Dude,
And yeah,
incredible story. And I agree with
Thank you, guys.
Maddie, but I'm not going to let you get off that easy. We need to go way back, bruh. Because
I
what
mean,
I am really interested about, and well, there's two things. Me being a designer myself, I would 100% why I got out of design and went more to the creative project management is because I did not have the knack for drawing. And it wasn't that I couldn't be a drawer. Dude, being a good artist, I hate people that say they're I love your input on this too, but my opinion is I hate people that say they're not creative because they've been taught their whole life you have to have some creative brand. It's like to become a good painter or become a good drawer, you just fucking have to spend thousands of hours doing it just like everybody else. Yes, there might be people that have a knack for it in the beginning, but you can be a really damn good drawer or painter by just practicing. What are your thoughts there?
Facts.
Fact?
Literally.
Yeah.
That's how I learned how to paint.
Yeah.
I was, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I'm colorblind, so I was like, oh, I can't do this. I can't do this. But then you're like, oh, let me try. Oh, okay. I can do this. Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
there it is.
Oh, okay.
And it's good to hear other creative people say that thing. Now, listen, I had a creative like brain, right? But I was like, I just don't really care about being an amazing artist. So I went down this more of because the great thing about design is it's an amazing career path for a really good artist, but it's also an amazing career path for a systems thinker and an analytical thinker because it really is solving visual communication through type and art, right? Or images,
Yep.
right? So I went down that road and then creative project management. So it was just cool to hear a designer take the other path and hear how it panned out for them. So that's more of just a comment. But
Hey,
two,
Mikey, you've heard the phrase "hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard." I mean,
Yep.
that can be applied to what you're saying here.
yeah,
And I try to pride myself to both of those
For sure.
as much as possible.
yeah, and I've actually heard that, and I always use that analogy to explain why Tiger Woods is amazing, right? Tiger Woods had a knack for golf, and he worked harder than anybody else. That's how you create greatness, right?
Yeah.
It's the Jordan. Yeah, it's the Jordan.
It's the
recipe.
Jordan thing. It's the recipe. All of the greats in the world had a knack for something and worked 100 times harder than anybody else, right? Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, whoever else you want to put down there. It's cool to see that you are that, right? Like you are uber creative talent that has a knack and work your freaking ass off. So props to you. More of a conversation and a comment than anything else. But two, one of the things that shook me in the beginning was when you pissed your dad off because you quickly got better artists than him.
Yeah.
And then, but even more at the your story about writing, drawing the video game covers is really interesting to me. And looking back, do you think that's something inherently you had? Because listen, 99.9999% of 7-year-olds are not going to paint a video game cover before they play it, right? So where did that it factor come from? Is there an event, or do you just think you inherently had that? I'd love to hear your answer to that.
Well, being a child of the 90s, I think we were just blessed to not be in front of screens all the time. And you see where I'm going with this? Like
Tell me more.
we got a lot of our entertainment from paper, So I was an avid comic book reader, collector, Pokemon cards. I used to get the Nickelodeon magazines. I used to get the comic books, the video game magazines from the grocery store. So, just I was just as intrigued by the images on that front cover, just as much as playing the game.
Yeah.
So I think that has to do a lot with that, and I think a lot of it is is inherent as well. So for people watching, I'm actually a father of two. I have a 4.5-year-old daughter, and I just had a baby, or my wife just had a baby 5 weeks ago.
I was gonna say that's
So I got a
impressive,
newborn at
dog.
the house. Yeah.
Congratulations.
But
Thank you.
congratulations, man.
So thank you. So, I look at my 4.5-year-old. She's almost 5 now, man. I'm losing track of time. She's almost 5, but she does something similar. I mean, she's literally today, she's drawing Elsa from a bicycle basket that she has with
Yeah.
Elsa in the front, and she's just sitting on the floor drawing that. So
Right.
I don't know, man. I think it's a little bit of inheritance, but it's just something that I enjoy, man. I just love the art from those old school video games.
Right.
And a lot of those video game covers,
Yeah.
they were hand drawn by other artists.
Absolutely. That was back in that day, especially with the CD player, CD covers as well, right? And what what I'm hearing you say is you just loved it, right? And you were fortunate to be in an environment, in an era where that's how you created stuff, right? With the Photoshops and stuff weren't around. So like that you were just as excited to draw the cover than to play the game. And like that is a big differentiator right there. But I also want to touch on what you just said too, is I think and it came out and it just dawned on me when you said something about your daughter, but your dad kind of helped tell you, and you are absolutely a product of your environment, right? So I'm assuming your daughter sees you draw a lot, right? And she's like, I kind of want to be like daddy, right? And so like, what is she gonna do, right? She's gonna draw because that's what you do. Same thing. Your dad showed you pencils and stuff when you were little, and you drew together, and that's what you enjoyed doing. And so there's a lot of different things there. But thank you for kind of explaining your thoughts on why you came to how you've gotten here today, which is, by the way, fire ass artwork and an interesting idea. So before we go down that path, Maddie, do you have anything else to chime in, or are you feeling good at this point?
No, I'm feeling good, man. I know I want to keep watching the time too, be sensitive to that. So
yeah, and by
let's
the
move
way,
on into how did this turn into a thing with cars, and where did that all come from? That's what I'm curious.
I'm just gonna apologize right now. I'm bending down and eating chicken noodle soup because it feels real nice. So that's just having to happen as we're talking. But yeah, I mean, I think we got amazing backgrounds from both of you. You guys met in high school, so I'm gonna show you kind of like Maddie and I, long-term friends. Let's talk about how you reunite kind of for this crypto NFT world, and take us through kind of the story where you get to the aha moment of like, MetaTuners, this is it. Let's start a project.
Yep. So first and foremost, what our project is, I mean, we're building the world's first car culture inspired PFP NFT collection.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why, I wanted to go into like this niche, space of like car culture is just, once I became a teenager, I got a bunch of guy cousins. I got a bunch of family members. They're all just car guys. They love modifying cars. So that's something that I started getting really passionate into, I would say right around like 15 and up. And to this day, it's something that I never let go. I have a Subaru WRX. Like I still am very much into, modified cars and going fast and things like that.
Yeah, our best buddy, huge WRX fan.
Yeah, man. And when I was looking into the NFT space over 10 months ago, I wanted to do something that was just super unique, and I was looking into the space and seeing what was out there. I know a lot of projects were delving into doing, different characters that revolved around animals and things like that. So I was like, okay, what are things that I'm passionate about? Hey, cars, anime.
Yeah.
Is there anything like that? Obviously, there were some anime projects that
Right.
popped off and things like that. But when I really looked into the automotive aspect
Mm-hmm.
of
Yeah.
NFT projects, there was not
There's not
many.
a ton.
There was a few. There was a
Yeah.
few, but they weren't blue chip projects.
Mm-hmm.
They were a little boring in my opinion. They were just like 3D renders of cars or like side profiles of like one silhouette of a car. It's like, oh, here's
Mm-hmm.
10,000 Porsches, and it just kind of
Got it.
boring. So you guys already heard my background of like working in these industries of Power Rangers and also back in the day, some of my favorite characters. I loved Mega Man. I loved
I
stuff
was
like
about to
Sonic.
say, bro,
Yeah,
Mega
Big
Man
Mega Man
vibes,
vibes.
hardcore.
yeah, man.
Dude, Maddie and I played every Mega Man. We loved him too, bro.
Dude, I'm telling you, Mega Man, just like it, it just moved me when I was a kid. Like that, like the art style, the dystopian, futuristic story, the tech, the mech tech, all that stuff. So, I really wanted to bring back some of that nostalgia and just merge it with like car culture, and that's what I think we're doing here successfully with our
Right.
project.
Right.
All of our characters in our NFT project, they're inspired by like the most legendary cars that people know and love, like the Nissan Skyline, Toyota Supra, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see the characteristics of these cars in the helmets. And one thing that I think is extremely unique about our project is in most NFT projects, you usually have one base character, and
Right.
there's a bunch of traits around that character to create all
Yeah.
the different, PFPs. But
Yep.
in our collection, it was really difficult doing that. Unless I'm basing the entire collection around one model of car,
Right.
I really can't do that.
Right.
So what I wanted to do with this project is I wanted to really cater to the entire car community. People who love JDM cars, Euro cars, muscle cars, exotics. So it was like, how do I do that?
Right.
Well, I had to do it an extremely hard way and basically create 80 base characters,
Yeah.
which took me a long, long time.
So I'm
Jeez.
But I
blowing
think
up your NFT trait graphic. Your guys' video is still there. I covered Maddie and I up so people can get kind of a sense of what you're talking about.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so you got the
So-
paint, the armor, the wheels, the skin, on top of all of the different styles, though, right? So that's insane, man.
Exactly, man. So yeah, man, we got over 700 plus, 700 plus hand-drawn traits in this collection. It's literally taken me 9 months plus to draw all this. I'm the only artist on this project.
Wow.
I'm also the founder. So it's yeah, man, it's through this journey, we've just been building and building, and in the back end, we're also building a lore for these characters to live in that
Yeah.
we're also introducing to our community as well.
Yeah.
So
I love
man.
that explanation. I want to back up real quick and I'll give it to you, Mike. Just a short explanation of before Caesar started drawing 9 months ago, what was the kind of aha moment, or was it kind of guided by you, Caesar? But Mike, I'd like to hear your kind of your recount of the events as to how we got here, right? And then we'll move. Then we'll do a little deeper dive on the actual project.
Yep.
So my perspective is also being an artist, and coming at this and being a kind of crypto native mind. I was trying to figure out a way to do this myself as well. I was like, yo, but I'm not. I'm good with painting, but I'm not very good with digital art at all. So
Right.
I just hit Caesar up originally out of love, like, yo, bro, you need to consider this. Like, you're so nice.
Yeah.
You're so good at art. Like, this is like this holy grant land was made for you to play in.
I love it.
So
Right.
I was just like, yo, like, here's what I think you should do. Like, yo, follow these people, check this out, like, try to educate yourself, get the vibe. And then maybe a month or two later, I chatted him again around like after Christmas. This was like before Christmas, and then about turn of the year, he's like, "Yo, I've been started working on this car inspired project," and I was like, "Oh, sick!" Like he showed me the first PFP,
Right.
which is the actual Subi PFP on the
Yeah.
Twitter,
Yeah.
and I was like, "This is insane!" Like, oh
Yeah.
my god. And then just that was kind of it. A few weeks later, he was starting to build it, and he just realized he needed some help. He needed more help on deck, people he could trust, smart minds. And it aligned perfectly. Kind of, we're very similar in our mindset, in our values, um, in our work ethic. So everything just kind of lined up to where I could kind of take over, help with the marketing, help with the NFT crypto space
Right.
and the knowledge at that
Right.
aspect, and really let him focus on spending 8,000 hours drawing, drawing
Right.
Yeah.
700 traits, because having to have your mind split in two different places, it's just, you're
Yeah.
never going to be able to create the best work possible.
Right. I
Um,
always, that was my biggest struggle being in business with creatives, right? And you deal with it at
yep.
where you are now is like, I want you to do all this project management shit, but then at the same time make amazing stuff. And that is hard to switch on and
Yeah,
off all day long,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
But what I'm
exactly.
hearing is, and this is a joke, of course, but, to be honest, MetaTuners is your idea, Mike. I mean, you're the one that brought NFTs to Caesar. He might draw it, but no, I'm just kidding. Um, it reminds me seriously of a
I was just
story
one
like
of 50
Maddie and I,
people.
right? Like, how cool is it
Yeah.
that you have this experience? Same like I had the experience of NFTs. My buddy from a previous past brought me on to NFTs. I convinced Maddie that it was an interesting idea. Same kind of dynamic you guys have, and shit, man. Now we're all on screen together talking about NFTs and your project.
Crazy.
It's crazy how it all
Yeah.
works.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
And I didn't
100%.
even think about this, but I picked all blue because I knew your Mega Man Blue PFP was going to be up on the screen the whole night.
There it is.
Dude, I lucked out
Nice.
on that one
Nice.
too. So no, that's great. That I love the fact that you kind of work off each other, right? And so I'm gonna
Yep.
get down to the project part, unless you have anything else, Maddie.
Nope.
All right, so Caesar, I'm gonna hit you with, and we've been asking this lately, and I think it's very interesting to see.
Yep.
Kind of on the spot a little bit, but give me the 2 to 3 minute elevator pitch as to why I should spend my hard-earned money on MetaTuners.
That is a very good question.
Short and concise is what we're looking for.
Okay. The NFT space is full of, artists, but it's also full of some bad actors. And what we strive to do here is to create a project and to deliver on a product that is true to the passions of what this space is all about. Our team is fully doxxed. This is a project that is art focused, brand focused, passion driven, and we're just trying to bring the most quality product to the NFT space and something unique that the space hasn't seen yet.
Love
So
it.
I believe that's why you should invest into our project.
Right. And so I think there's some things to unpack there for me. Maddie, do you have some initial responses, or you want me to
Yeah.
go again?
Let me. So I would say I'd like to hear that same thing, but then what's another, like, if I didn't even know what you were doing, how would you say
Yep.
all of that, but also tell me what you're doing?
I got you. Let me run it off real
Yeah,
quick.
go ahead.
All right. Yeah. Let's hear it.
So what we're doing is creating the first NFT backed global anime empire. With our skill sets and our professional talents, Caesar obviously being a designer for Transformers currently, we know how to execute, scale, build, design teams, We have the creative ability within our team. We have a writer. We have all of the things necessary to create and build the anime that we all want, being 90s kids in 2020.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is leveraging the power of the blockchain to partner with the community. Instead of bringing this to Disney or Hasbro, um, we have this amazing opportunity to cut out the middleman and partner with the community and then build this with them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what we're creating here
Right.
at MetaTuners.
And so I think that's
Okay.
a really interesting explanation as well. And that you know, Caesar, like I can tell, the type of guy is he went straight for the heartstrings, which is totally fine. Mike went for the more practical application of how you're going to do this. So I think there's two things to unpack there, right? I love, and I still think in the NFT space, this is lost, right? There is still a huge opportunity to bring storytellers with the community together to make an awesome show or a product, and that's the monetization, right? But currently, a lot of the quote-unquote projects that are getting hype, well, let's not talk about the free mints and stuff, but projects in my mind that are going to be successful have a way to monetize post-mint. Now, what I understand is you guys are still working full-time and you're doing this as a passion project. So do I think that can live parallel for a while? Yes. But ultimately, you know, where does MetaTuners go? And I think that's the big problem you guys have to solve. Maddie, do you have anything to add on there, or did you understand what I was trying to get at?
Yeah, no, I understand where you're trying to get at. And I would just simply say, you know, again, I like what I'm seeing. I think what Mike's saying is beyond the heart of it. In the current environment we're in, what's your plan to thrive long term?
Yeah. And I think and if you don't have the answer, it's okay.
That's okay.
But it's something you need to be thinking about sooner than later, right? So
For
I'll
sure.
give you
No,
both. I'll start with you,
we have-
Caesar, or Mike, if you want to chime in.
go
Like,
ahead.
what is your answer to that question?
I think we have multiple roads to success, right?
Okay.
We have the traditional route that I was touching on, like throughout our networks. We know people at Disney and Netflix and Hasbro and Warner Brothers. So we have a plan. A majority of our mint will be put into treasury, so we have a fat runway. We've already have a business plan broken down, and we know the relative costs of what we want to create. And that will be handled well within our treasury with what's on our roadmap. Once we create a pilot episode, basically, we can kind of shop that around and get funding to create the whole series, basically, is how it's typically done. So either way it ends up, we could do that ourselves, bootstrapping it like we have, or when we fully mint out, we will have the funds necessary to do that. And we're all prepared to go full time with this. I'm personally like full time with this already. Half of our team basically is full time. The other half is still has their day jobs.
Caesar, anything to add to that?
Yeah, no, I think exactly what he's saying is we have already been thinking about after mint, the future, and also the value that we want to give to our holders. So I think the answer to this question really is in our roadmap. You know, we're building something that's unique to the NFT space, and through car culture, we're going to be adding so much value that the space hasn't seen before. For example, you know, we do want to throw IRL events that play within that car theme, from IRL car meets where we do, you know, test drives, where we do drift events. We just do a lot of things within the car world, and also pull in all of our skill sets, like Mike was saying.
Right.
Mike, has a lot of connections within the music world. We have connections within real estate from our other founders. So we have a lot of things in store.
Mm-hmm.
But the ultimate goal really is to create that animated series
Right.
through any funding that we build. And yeah, when that ultimately gets done, we're going to create more value for our holders with that as well.
And so I think
So-
that's it. You just said it right there, right? Like
Yeah.
you and Mike said it. Like really, you are creating a mint to launch a pilot to shop to Netflix and Warner Brothers and whoever this is, right? And
now we're talking.
And your narrative behind that is, guys, I already did this. I moved to LA and I already
That's what I was going to
convinced
say.
a
Exactly.
massive suit to buy my product, and now I'm doing this with you, for you, and we're gonna do this together. Like that is a very intriguing, concise narrative for me. Do you see what I'm getting at?
Listen, it's in our lore. Literally,
Okay.
the main antagonist in our lore is the machine.
Oh,
So you
I
can
like
think
it.
of the machine as big business. You can think of the
Sure.
machine as just corporations, and all of that is played off of the story that I gave you guys earlier of my experience.
Right.
So like Mike said, we're partnering with the community. We're not partnering
Yeah.
with the machine this time.
I love it,
No,
man.
no, it's great, but I want you to hear what Mike said, because the reason we asked the question about the elevator pitch, right? I've been in sales for a long time. I've taught sales for a long time. Is you have to be able to, in a short window of time, take somebody who has no idea what you're doing and get them up to speed. And it can't be, here's my business card, check out the website, read the lore, here's all this stuff, and check my roadmap, right?
Yep.
Yes, we'll do that. This community will do that. Most of the people in chat will do that, right? But that's not going to be enough people, right? You're talking about building, in your words, Mike, a global anime brand, right?
Right.
So like
Yeah.
you need to be able to take somebody and say, here's what we're doing. And I think Mike nailed it, Blue Mike here, nailed it with by saying, you've done this. That's a critical point here. Listen, we're doing an NFT launch, and we're going to use the funds to build a pilot for an anime show that's going to be epic. I know how to build this. I've done it before. I've already sold this before. I want to, you can go through, be like, look, I was one of 200 people to be selected to pitch this to major companies, to major producers. Does that be the word?
Suits.
You could say suits, whatever you want to say. Out of the 7 finalists, I won. I presented this in Los Angeles. NBC wanted the product and purchased it. Like, you've done this process. That's a tremendous amount of credibility that you can use. And if I was somebody from the outside, I would say, okay, these guys have done this. They know the process. They know how to get a show going. They're trying to do a pilot, but they want to do it with Web3. As Mike Blackshirt Muscles Mike said, we're gonna be able to do this, but we want to take advantage of Web3 and getting away from the system, getting away from the machine.
Mm-hmm.
That resonates a lot, I think, to a lot of people, because anybody who knows how the system works, man, it's brutal. It's I mean, look what happened, chewed you up and spit you out.
Yeah.
But this is a way to do it in a free way, and I think a lot of people would get behind that. So just take that for what it is. I think that's some good kind of a helpful way to kind of concisely say this is what we're doing, and we're good at it. We know what we're doing. So,
and just to layer on that real quick, that's awesome that it's in the lore too, but like these concise statements obviously help for marketing and Twitter and all that stuff, right? Because you still got to bring outside people in. But I am very happy to hear that what I was thinking is exactly what you're thinking, and it's in the lore. And I love that you already have a name for the antagonist, and we're gonna try to take this son bitch down. And I hope some MLC people got some motorheads on them too, and gonna help you guys take them down too.
Yeah, they want a gold skyline. That's what I see in chat. Gold skyline.
They want the gold skyline, and they're very excited about that. So with that being said, I think we have a bigger, deeper understanding of what you're going for. I'll start with you, Caesar. So we got the mint coming in 24 hours, man. I mean, like we got we're doing this to supply you with content, raise some awareness, but what do you have to say? What are your thoughts over the next 24 hours?
48.
Sorry, 48 hours. Are you at the point where you're like, damn, I did a lot of work up to this point. It is what it is, or what is your thought process at this point?
Man, you know, you get out what you put in.
Yeah.
And we've put in over 10 months of blood, sweat, and tears.
Yep.
We've rode a lot of waves, and we're here, man.
Yeah.
I'm kind of, I think at this point I'm kind of like, we're gonna let God take the wheel and see.
Let's see what
and
happens.
see how it goes. But
yeah.
but you know, we're as prepared as we can be. You know, we've put in all the legwork. We've built the community, and we're ready for this next 48 hours.
Love it. And how about you, Mike? What are you thinking about over the next 48 hours? You personally, and the project, and what's on your mind?
Just grinding. It feels like in 300 when it's like the day before the battle and everyone's like chilling a little bit, like reminiscing. Like,
right.
Yeah. And then it's like, okay, we're about to go to war.
All right.
Yeah,
and then chaos ensues. I love that analogy. That's super good. So I think we did a good job. We got to the elevator pitch through a couple of different questions. I think I have a good idea of what's going on. We're minting in 48 hours. In a very difficult time to mint a project. I'm sure hindsight, you're like, I wish I could have drawn a little faster, because you could literally poo on a wall and sell it in January, right? But it is what it is. This is where you're at. If you don't mint out, I would hope that you mint out, because then it's a sure deal and you can get all of the things that you said done, because you're going to have capital to do that and you know how to do it, right? If you don't, what is your quote unquote blackout plan? How do you look at this project and you just keep on going until you sell it out? Do you think about reducing the mint amount of NFTs to kind of put a close to it? What are your thoughts there, gents?
I think it's all gas. We have a couple different ideas, but we're just gonna keep going until it mints out. I think.
Love it.
It's a difficult time. We're doing this pure organic, so we don't expect like 14-second mint out.
Right.
But we feel it's possible over the next few days throughout the weekend for sure. We got some surprises in store. I think once the community sees the quality and like just the level of art, I think it's gonna catch some wind.
Right. No, and see, I think that is the right answer, man. Like, you nailed it with that answer. I think is you're like, listen, you have expectations. You're not stopping. You've put this much work into it now. Why would you stop? And you do have a clear goal in mind, which is to create 100%. A episode 0 to pitch to kind of continue to evolve this project, right? Which is awesome.
Yep.
So knowing that you guys are in that mindset is amazing, because we do talk to a lot of projects here that are like, if we don't mint out, it's over. And it's like, well, that's actually not the answer.
Yeah,
that's not the
we've
answer.
Been going so hard. It's like, we took the time to make it right. Like Caesar, we didn't cut any corners. Like, we've been through the whole storm of everyone panicking in June. In May. So we're not stopping. We know these cycles work. In 2 years, everyone's going to be like, oh my goodness, Bitcoin, it's $70 trillion.
$70 trillion. And then, so to follow that up, what I was going to say is there a specific date for art reveal yet? Are you going to kind of see how the mint goes first? What are your thoughts there?
Yep, that's the plan. Going to see how the mint goes, and then soon after, probably 24 to 48. We don't want to do one of those weird, super long reveals. But we'll kind of see by this weekend. We'll know for sure.
Love it.
Okay.
And to believe it or not, we've already been talking for an hour and a half. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's felt that way, but that's gone.
Crazy.
It's gone pretty
It
quick.
goes fast.
So
Crazy.
before we wind
Well,
this down,
hold on, Mike.
no,
I got one.
I got a couple more things. I'm just saying we got a couple more things to do, but I am slowly deteriorating. So I want to give us another maybe like 10, 20 minutes to kind of wrap it up. Maddie, I
Yeah.
know, has some questions. We have some chat questions that we want to make sure we get to. And
That's
then
what I was going to say.
we got some final questions for you, and then we'll call it a night. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
All right, awesome. Go ahead, Maddie.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I was just say so. Community question. ATX asked, as an auto racing fan, I'd like to know if there's any plan to incorporate a racing series like NASCAR, F1, Indy,
Ooh.
monster truck type vehicles. Anything from like racing series you guys are thinking to incorporate?
That's a really good question. It's funny, we have been talking about incorporating F1. Right now, our main focus is sports cars. So basically sports cars within all those factions that I mentioned from Euro, exotic, and all that stuff.
Sure.
But we are planning on doing some other future drops. So we could see some of that in the near future.
And that is part of your building your lore and your ideas with your community, right?
Yep.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else, Maddie? Or we kind of covered?
No, I wanted to get that. That was the main community question that hadn't been just talked about already.
Yeah.
So,
what
I
typically
like it.
happens in the longer format shows is there are a lot of questions, but we inevitably answer them as we talk, right? So if that is the last question, there are a couple things. Final thoughts from you, Caesar, then Mike, about addressing the community. Hey, we're about to mint. This is what you can expect over the next 6 months. I'll let you go first, Caesar. Like, this is your platform to, tell the community your vibes, what to expect about the project, even though they've heard a lot of this, but just, final thoughts on your end.
Man, well, first of all, I want to just say thank you to you guys for, letting us on this platform and talking to the community. I just think it's crazy the power of this space and just how we're able to just, strangers just, get on the mic and just
Right.
chat up.
It's the best.
Really, what I want to say is, we're trying to build a major franchise. When you think of car culture and you think of what's out there entertainment wise, there's not a lot. We all know Fast and the Furious. Sure, there's Transformers, maybe, Disney cars and Initial D back in the day, but there really hasn't been anything new, anything fresh. And you've heard our story. We are 90s kids. We want to bring back that nostalgia and just high quality art and storytelling through NFTs and through this Web3 space. And just build this tuner and anime community.
Love it. How about you, Mike?
Man, yes, Caesar touched on that perfectly. So the next 48, just know there's no surprise mints. You'll see a link posted from one of the mods, or from our Twitter officially and in Discord. Please double check. We're some solid dudes and we're not stopping. Like,
I love
with
it.
or without the mint, we can bootstrap and create the episodes. So we're minting out eventually. If it's one day or 100 years, we're not going to stop. So
Right.
This is passion driven. We love it. So it's not just for a bag. Like, we're doing this because this is what we love to do, and we're going to make this into our full-time universe and build it together,
Dude, I love that. I
community.
love that narrative.
Yes,
I
it will.
love it. And there's
100%.
the two last questions that we missed. We're going to wrap it up. And it sounds like you're more the ops guy, Mike, so I'll give it to you. What are your thoughts about IP rights for the characters, or if a character is actually written into the show, if the show gets picked up? Is there a rev share there? What are your thoughts?
Yep, exactly. There, they're thinking along the same lines as we are right now. That's still, we're finalizing our plan for that. You
Right.
will have some IP rights given to you with minting your tuner.
Yeah.
We're going to create some sort of DAO structure as well to where you'll be able to put your tuner up if you want to have it cast in the show, and then down the line there'll be some sort of breakdown of revenue if Netflix picks it up or
Right.
something
Okay.
along those lines.
I love it. And then, so I did lie. We asked 2 questions on the show. And then the last question, I'm not going to do the 2-part. I'm just going to do one. And you kind of hinted at it. I'll start with you, Caesar. How do you think tonight went compared to other MMAs, AMAs, and Twitter spaces that you've had? Did you like the content? Did you like the format? What are your thoughts?
I mean, the fact that we've been on for an hour and a half says a lot.
Dude, we can go
no,
3 hours. You're just lucky I'm sick, dog.
No, man, I personally loved it. This is the first time we've been able to show our faces
Awesome.
officially.
I love it.
Nice.
And we're not scared to do that, you know. And
Yeah.
that's a message that we wanted to let our community know, let the
Right.
community know.
Right.
And this was kind of our debut to do it. So we appreciate you guys.
Awesome, man. I thank you. And hey, listen, you're both beautiful human beings, so it's pretty easy to show your
Facts.
face. And then same
Facts.
question for you, Mike. Out of everything you've done like this, what were your thoughts on how it went tonight?
Oh, great. Thanks for the platform as well. It was a great time, and flows way better than Twitter Spaces. Way more personal, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. No, I
I think it's,
appreciate
yeah,
that. I appreciate
overall,
that.
way better in my opinion. Higher
Thank you.
quality content. You're able to convey information much better, I feel.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think that we pride ourselves on that. I think the open organic format lends itself to that, and just the fact Maddie and I have known each other for so long, we kind of complete each other's thoughts. That how many times did I say something Matt was like, that's what I wanted to say, or vice versa. So appreciate that. And then how we always close it out, I'll let Maddie give his final thoughts. I'll give my final thoughts, and we'll call it a day, man. But remember, this is not the first or last time you'll hear from us. We're looking forward to building a relationship with you guys.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I'll say this. You know, I'm not an NFT expert. Mike knows more about NFTs than me, and honestly, most of chat knows more about NFTs than me. I can appreciate good art. I like good art as a we're called Midlife Crisis for a reason. So when you start talking Mega Man and Transformers, you know, you have our attention. So I like the art. I like what it does. What I would say is this. I told you from the beginning that what we do on this show is we talk to people, right? Michael said it's about people, not projects, and we mean that. And what I think is really cool about the conversation we had was getting a chance to kind of do this. Well, not even kind of. I mean, we got a deep dive into who you guys are, what your background is, and how you got here. And it's fascinating because, as I said before, you guys have already gone through a lot of the trials and tribulations that a lot of people don't get to experience until they're launching their first NFT project, right? Imagine not having the experience you had in terms of pitching a show and doing this, right? You have real world and tangible experience, both of you, on how this works, how to pitch this, how to build a brand. You've done it before. And so, you know, you've traveled. When you were talking, Mike, about traveling and building the clothing brand and what you were doing there. So this isn't your first rodeo, and it shows. And I think that is going to carry you guys further than necessarily the initial pitch and lore that people are going to hear. It's going to get them getting a chance to know you guys is I think what's going to carry the brand, and I'm glad we got a chance to showcase that. So thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback off that. Maddie said a lot of the things I want to say, and I'll just add on to the fact, like, keep on exposing your guys' selves as you as humans, because you're really good guys. Double down on your experience, and I know we're creating lore with this project, which is awesome, but create your business lore, right? You have that business lore, and you might have had it on Twitter. I don't know. I haven't looked all the way through your Twitter. But whether you've not do it, just I think what I'm saying is continue to hone that sword, right? Continue to hone that pitch. continue to say, dude, we're building this shit. We already done it, and we're going to do it a better way and build it with the community, and we're going to benefit them, and we're going to benefit our well-being, and we're going to do awesome ass things, right?
Yeah.
So you guys are doing it the right way. And then I don't need to say this, but I think the biggest thing that I brought out, and Maddie said brought out this conversation, is you guys don't give up. And that is such a special characteristic and trait to have, because there's a lot of people that give up. And Caesar, your story was super impactful when it comes to that. And I think that is really your silver bullet. It's, like Matt said, great art, really cool idea, but the silver bullet is your drive and ambition. So keep that going, gents. And the sky's the limit if you keep that going. So we really appreciate your time. We know you're insanely busy. Rarely does a project come on 48 hours before mint, but you made it happen anyways. We will make sure to deliver video clips of this show. We appreciate you so much, and we can't wait to continue to become friends, because we're friends already. We just stopped. We spoke for an hour and a half. You got Maddie and I, whether you like it or not.
Better believe it.
So keep it real. Have a good day. Or night, I guess, is at that point. And then for the midlife crew, obviously I'm sick. Matt, my birthday tomorrow, Maddie's birthday Thursday. We got super fried chicken cockfight on Friday. We're going to be doing an AMA. We've got some really entertaining stuff to do. Caesar and Mike will tell you about that offline.